No mai te hui me karakia tātou. Please join me in the karakia. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e hi aki ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, tihei, mauri ora. Tēnā koutou katoa no mai ki te hui o te Takere, the Regulatory Processes Committee e tēnei rā. For members, just please let me or the Democracy Services advisor know if you intend to leave the meeting. We don't need to receive any apologies, I believe, unless anyone else has apologies they need to give for today's meeting. Fantastic. I also call on any members to clear any conflict of interest they might have. I see none. E whakatokoto ana o i te mōtini, I move the motion that Te Takere, the Regulatory Processes Committee, approves the minutes from the meeting on the 3rd of December, having been circulated, and that they are taken as read and confirmed as an accurate meeting. Do I have a seconder for that? Paui Hohaia. I will now put the motion that has been moved and seconded. Those in favour press 1, those against press 2. Oh, it's smaller this time. Ka whakapua au ka mua kia, kua mana te mōtini, I declare the motion carried. And there are no items that are not on the agenda today. That moves us into public participation. Just a reminder for our public participants that this meeting is public and live streamed, and just to be respectful of colleagues around the table, but also fellow public participants. First up today, speaking to the Fortification Road traffic resolution, is Adrian Rollett. You're welcome to stand at the podium or the table, whatever is most comfortable for you. You've got 5 minutes to speak today, and if you want us to be able to ask any questions, we'll need to be asking that in that time as well. So over to you, Adrian.
Morena, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Adrian Rollett. I live at 9 Fortification Road, and I'm here representing the 27 residents who signed the request to action form requesting the installation of yellow lines on Fortification Road. I appreciate the time you are taking to hear community feedback on this matter. I've prepared some slides to help provide a clearer understanding of the situation. For more than 2 years, residents have been dealing with an ongoing parking issue in this section of the road, particularly relating to a trailer and vehicles parking in a location where the road is simply too narrow to safely accommodate them. I'm trying, sorry. Yep. What may once have been seen as an inconvenience has now become a genuine safety concern for residents and for service access. There have been multiple occasions where access for emergency service has been significantly restricted. Rubbish trucks have also struggled to pass through. There has already been at least one instance where a resident damaged their vehicle while attempting to safely navigate past parked vehicles and the trailer. The key concern for residents is emergency access. If a fire truck or ambulance cannot reach properties further up the road quickly and safely, the consequences could be serious, very serious. The council's own assessment of the road width concluded that the road is too narrow to safely allow parking on both sides and supported the installation of yellow lines. Unfortunately, only one couple has expressed opposition to this change, as they do not want yellow lines installed in front of their property. At the previous traffic resolution meeting, they suggested to the committee that the 27 signatures collected were not genuine and raised concern about speeding vehicles, which residents strongly dispute as everyone is very careful. This created confusion and resulted in a 6-month delay while the matter remained unresolved. It felt unfair to many residents that the views expressed by 2 individuals during public participation appeared to carry more weight than the formally submitted support of 27 residents and the council conclusion. This is why I'm here today, to represent the signatories in person. I also want to be honest and say that it is stressful for me to be here today. The next person that will be speaking in opposition to this traffic resolution has recently been involved in an assault on Saturday and is on bail conditions, and I'm concerned about potential.
Sorry, Adrian, I'll just if you could keep your submission to the topic at hand, that would be great. Thank you.
So, however, I believe strongly that the safety of the community must come first, and I hope you can understand how important this matter is to the residents. Following the previous traffic resolution process in August and after the election, the signatories waited in good faith for engagement from the Motokurangi councillors to verify that their signatures were genuine. Unfortunately, that engagement didn't occur. Residents became increasingly concerned, and as a result, some residents contacted democracy advisor Sophie Dobbs directly to confirm that their signatures were valid. This was simply residents seeking reassurance that their voices had been properly recorded and recognized. From the resident perspective, this issue is not personal. It's about ongoing parking behavior at this location that creates safety risks. It regularly affects access for rubbish truck, emergency vehicles, and moving trucks. Residents are not asking for convenience or preferential treatment. They are asking for a practical safety measure that reflect the physical reality of the road layout and ensures reliable access for essential services. 27 residents have taken the time to formally support this request because they believe this is necessary for the safety and functioning of the street. On behalf of those residents, I respectfully ask the Council to progress the installation of yellow lines at this location as soon as practicable. Thank you again for your time and for considering the safety of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. It looks like we've run out of time, but thank you very much for coming and presenting today.
Thank you.
Next public participant is Julian Bishop, also presenting on Fortification Road. No, my Julian, you're welcome to present either at the lectern or the table, whatever's most comfortable for you. Fantastic. You also have 5 minutes, and that includes any time if you want us to ask questions.
So I should try and leave some time available?
Yeah, if you would like, you can leave some time available for questions, yeah.
Kia ora koutou, ko Julian Bishop, aho. The proposal for no stopping yellow lines will affect our property, the Roger Walker designed prison house, more than any other property in the street. My wife and I do not support the proposal because it has been instigated through spite by a nasty neighbour who is trying to push us out of our house with the campaign of...
Julian, sorry, just if you could refrain from using sort of offensive language in your submission, that would be great. Thank
offensive?
You. Yeah, nasty, I believe, would be an offensive term.
Okay. This person became angry because we wouldn't agree to a 2-metre high fence. The maximum height for a heritage building like ours is 1.5 metres high under the Wellington City Council district plan. In order to get his way, Mr. Rollett began a campaign of character assassination against my wife and I. He has maligned us, threatened and physically assaulted me. Mr. Rollett claimed that he needed a 2-metre high fence because we were horrible people. He has made up false and malicious...
Sorry, if you could keep it to the discussion at hand, which is the installation of the yellow lines, that would be fantastic.
Okay. It's difficult because there's a context which I feel is very important here.
Yeah, I understand that. The matter that we are deciding at the moment is the safety issue of the installation of broken yellow lines.
Mr. Rollett instigated the yellow no stopping lines proposal as a proxy continuation of the dispute. He went door knocking personally to obtain support for his proposal. And yet, despite his actions, more people in the street didn't support his proposal. Mr. Rollett even got his mates who do not live in the street to sign his form. The number of so-called concerned neighbours who signed the form was then whittled down to only a handful of submitters in the initial council feedback process. none of whom addressed the Regulatory Processes Committee in August 2025. Only one person, the instigator of the proposal, Mr. Rollett, is apparent in support of the proposal at today's meeting. This is really a one-person crusade. This is because there is no widespread support in the street for this proposal. Claims that ambulances and other emergency vehicles have been impeded are false. Mr. Rollett's photographs have been deliberately misrepresented, and he has fabricated the illusion of a problem, but there is no real problem. To provide documentation, Mr. Rollett deliberately parked his vehicle to obstruct the parking track on that day. My wife and I personally witnessed that. This is an example of him taking photographs for fake news. Parking and traffic changes should be considered seriously and carefully, with a careful analysis and meaningful public consultation. There hasn't been meaningful public consultation. The council just kicked the can down the street. The actual public safety concern here with this proposal is not traffic or parking, but rather a broader social issue of intimidation and falsehood, of misrepresentation and a personal vendetta. For these reasons, please say no to the unnecessary and malicious yellow no stopping lines proposal in front of our historic house. By means, provide yellow lines in front of Mr. Rollett's house if that's what he wants, but don't allow his spiteful actions to have a lasting effect in the street. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time if anyone has one short question. Councillor Randall.
You mentioned, alternative of having yellow lines on the opposite side of the road. Is that an option that you've discussed with officers, that in fact the yellow lines that are currently there would just be extended that entire length?
The traffic, there were two proposals as I understand it. One is for yellow lines on the side of the street without a pavement, which is the continuation of the lines outside our garage. And the other proposal was to put yellow lines on this footpath side of the street. That would actually provide more safety for emergency vehicles. But really, we've documented over several days the number of vehicles that park in the area that is covered by this proposal. And there are very, very few cars that ever park there. Over a week, there might be 3 or 4 cars. Most of the congestion, traffic congestion, including cars which park on the footpath, occur outside Mr. Rollett's property at number 9 to number 11 Fortification Road, and this proposal will not address that issue, which is a far more serious issue.
Thank you, Julian. We've run out of time, but thank you for coming in to present today. Next up is Catherine. No, Maya Catherine, you can either stand at the lectern or sit at the table, whatever is most comfortable for you. And yeah, if you would like us to ask questions, we'll need to do that within the 5 minutes as well.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you all for letting me speak today. I'm also live at the Historic Britain House and I oppose the yellow lines. We bought the Historic Britain House 3.5 years ago. The entrance to the property to get into our house goes directly from the street and there is no footpath. After we moved in, we became very concerned of how fast cars zoom down the road. And in fact, about 6 months ago, there was actually a head-on at the corner further down from our house because of speeding cars. A car hit another car, going in the opposite direction. After we moved in, we became very concerned of how fast vehicles drive down the street, because on a couple of occasions, both me and my husband nearly got hit trying to leave and access our property. So we noticed if we parked on the house side of the street, the traffic would slow down. It was much safer for us to access our property and garage because cars just couldn't zoom down. Some neighbours did ask us why we were parking on that side, and we explained it was to try and slow the traffic, and they totally understood. And since this time, and this was all, quite a number of months ago, cars going down the road from the other residents have slowed down considerably. People appreciate our concerns, and as a result, we have actually not parked on the house side of the street for months and months and months. The photos you saw were taken months ago. Tradies sometimes park on that side of the road, and there are two families that live further up above us, and they sometimes park on that side of the road. So it is used, but not that often. In fact, it is the least parked aspect of the whole of fortification. And as Julian said, further down the road, there are cars literally parked on the pavement because it's so crammed. We occasionally park a trailer to offload materials or onload materials. And what happened was whenever we parked, Mr. Rollett would complain to the council because alleging that we parked for more than 7 days in one place. I think he rang the council, the traffic control, about 15 times. And that was no matter what side of the road our trailer was on. So if it was on the side of the road that he wants everybody to park on, we still had a phone call. We still had the traffic control people coming around to ticket us because Rollett had rung up to make a complaint that our trailer had been parked there for more than 5 days because he was using this, the bylaw that's meant to be for abandoned vehicles. There are a few other trailers parked in the street, literally on the street, and they never get the same scrutiny that we have received. There are other trailers around the neighbourhood that are often just parked for weeks in the same spot and they don't have this same scrutiny. Mr. Rollett has a sense of entitlement over the park across from his house, and in fact he has CCTV footage over that public park and complains if anybody parks in it. But I'm going to finish on a positive note. Over time, parking and speeding situation has changed. Everybody is driving more considerately. We're getting waves from the people that were driving really fast. Our trailer is kept in our garage. We're not in use. So neighbourhood cooperation and communication has actually resolved the situation, and non-stop yellow lines are not necessary. Mr. Rollett would prefer we didn't live in our house, and there's been a campaign of threats, miscommunication and sexual slander. It's been actually really
Sorry, if we could
awful.
just refrain
I
from
know, but
referring
it's
to
the
that.
context for the yellow
I understand
line.
today we are talking about the yellow lines.
Important, yeah. I have the right to access my property safely, and I feel very strongly that the current parking arrangement best provides for safety. If you're going to put yellow lines all the way down the street on the house side, then I would ask for speed humps as well, because it's just going to mean you're going to turn that street into a highway for cars to roar down. So the yellow lines proposed would just speed up traffic and remove any option of safely unloading or loading material from our property. So if we get a dump bin like we need to do for the house, and we have done in the past, would we have it across the road and then, So non-stop yellow lines will not only convenience myself and my husband, but it will also convenience other people who live in the neighbourhood further up the road, and all the tradespeople that use it. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate that you've let me speak today, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there is time.
Thank you, Catherine. Unfortunately, we have run out of time for questions,
That's
but thank you
fine.
for
Thank you
coming
very
in to
much.
speak today. That now moves us on to our first order of business, which is discussing Fortification Road. No Mai Sun to the table to introduce the report. And Ross. Welcome, Ross.
Kia ora koutou, introducing the Fortification Road no stopping traffic resolution. It follows on from TR 11525 in August. Public consultation has been received and public participation today. I've got the support of Soon to answer technical questions and welcome any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the officers on this paper? Councillor Randall.
I just wanted to, if you could briefly explain why the yellow lines are recommended to be on the opposite side of the road from where the current yellow lines are. Is that deliberate? Is that deliberate versus just continuing and making a big long yellow line section?
Councillor. The existing yellow lines on the other side of number 7 is actually to facilitate the vehicles coming out of number 7 garages. Because if it's a car park on the other side, it's difficult for number 7 vehicles to come out. That's the reason why we put yellow lines on the property side, is because it's a preference for vehicles to be able to park next to a footpath to unload and load either young children or people to have a safe place to walk. If we put yellow lines on the footpath side, the chances is people will have to step onto the road and it's unsafe, and you have dealing with young children or elderly.
Yeah, and so where the yellow lines are going to go, I mean, is in terms of the vehicle width, minimum vehicle width safety, if a vehicle was parked where you propose to put the yellow lines, is the road narrowed to an extent that, as outlined, that it's less than the minimum that would normally be required?
We have a minimum of 6.9 to allow vehicles to park on both sides and still allow emergency vehicles to go through. This is in discussion with fans and ambulance. 6.9 is the minimum, and this area is no way close to that. So as a result, we have to have that yellow lines to facilitate that accessibility for emergency vehicles.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mayor Little.
Thank you, Chair. Look, it would just be helpful, just for the sake of the record, just to take us through the public consultation that you went through. I understand the proposed resolution were advertised in July last year. What happened following advertising of the proposed resolution?
Mayor, the proposed resolution went through for the standard two weeks consultation. We have submissions from the community along. Before that, we had a request from one of the submitters saying that there's an issue along that street due to accessibility being obstructed. So instead of officers just carrying out that traffic resolution, we actually got a submitter to come up with a request for action form, which then resulted in 27 signatures on it. That led us to then assess the situation on site ourselves rather than just take on what the submitters or petitioner provided us, and we concluded that there's an issue with the narrowness of the street, and that went through the committee in August, and as a result, the committee then decided that they should not make a decision until the new triennium.
And just, you will have heard the submissions today, and I understand some of the written material that's been provided to the council already. There's clearly some relationship issues between residents on the street. To what extent did any of the views that various people have expressed about each other weigh or bear upon the recommendation you've made about this traffic resolution?
The recommendation we are putting in front of the committee now is based on the officer's technical assessment of the area rather than what the neighborhood issues are. So it's based on technical officer's assessment. Thanks.
Councillor O'Brien.
Kia ora. I'm just wondering if we decide to implement these yellow lines in this area, what sort of evaluation will be done on if it's sort of being successful, and will that focus purely on the parking side of it? I know we've heard sort of speed raised. Will there be any sort of analysis of speed issues or anything like that? Thank you.
Every time we implement a change in the street, we would definitely go back and check whether parking has migrated to another location and creates the same issue. So at this situation, we will definitely have to go back and check. Now, the speed that we have done, the surveys that we have done is currently at 30 kilometers an hour. So it's not a speeding issue, more obstruction or accessibility issue.
Councillor Chung.
Thanks very much. Do you know if there have been any accidents recorded in the street because of speed? It's a very narrow street, and so have you actually looked at the accident rate?
Councillor, we did have checked the accident rate. There's no accident along Fortification Road that has been reported on CAS.
I don't see any other questions. Thank you both very much. I'm very happy to move this paper. I want to first acknowledge everyone that came in and made public submissions today. I recognise that there is a variety of views around the installation of these broken yellow lines. In my analysis of the traffic resolution itself, I do believe it's important to centre the engineering assessment that went into this. It is the most absolute and I think definitive description of the road network, and particularly our responsibility as a road controlling authority to maintain the access of safety and emergency vehicles for all residents in our city. And that was highlighted when the required width as outlined by officers was 6.9 metres, and for this section of road it is 5.1 to 5.7, which to me demonstrates a meaningful impediment to emergency services accessing people's properties. I am quite satisfied with the explanation provided for the side of the road that the broken yellow lines are installed on, acknowledging that one side has a footpath and therefore provides greater level of service to people who wish to use the car parking facilities on the road. And furthermore, having been a member of the Regs Committee last triennium and having gone through the consultation process, now being involved in a site visit and also involving the ward councillors in going out and viewing the site itself, I do feel very confident that we have engaged in a very thorough consultation process and analysis of the options that were put forward by officers. I believe Councillor O'Brien is willing to second this. Would you like to speak now or reserve your right? Is there any debate on this item? Councillor Tiefenbacher.
Yeah, I also went on the site visit, and I think the reality is it is a narrow street. You can only have cars parked on one side at any one time. It tends to be 99.9% of vehicles seem to be parked on the footpath side, and I think that, you know, the fact that there occasionally isn't, I think we're just setting a standard of where you should park. I would like to suggest that the officers consider extending the yellow lines all the way up to the corner, though. I think when you come around the corner first going into Fortification Road, it is quite tight, and if there were any cars parked on that left-hand side of that point, I think that could be an action impediment as well. But fully supportive of this move.
Is there any other debate? Councillor O'Brien, would you like to speak? I don't believe I need my right of reply. In INA ka pōtitia te mōtini, I now put the motion which has been moved and seconded. Those in favour, press 1. Those against, press 2. Kua mana, I declare that the motion has been carried. We now move on to item 2.2, proposed road closures. Please welcome Ross and Sean to introduce the report.
Apologies. Kia ora koutou, introducing the temporary road closures paper seeking approval for the Pride Parade, Anzac Parade and Tamata Pihi opening day parade. The impact assessments have been completed and consultations been carried out with no negative feedback. I've got the support of Sean for technical questions and welcome your questions.
Does anyone have any questions for officers? Fantastic. Thank you both very much. I believe Councillor Matthews was interested in moving this paper.
Kia ora koutou, just very briefly, obviously some significant events here and as well as Anzac Day, very exciting year for Pride and a big anniversary year for that festival and the parade, and also probably the most exciting, the reopening of Te Matapihi, which is going to be amazing for our city. So these are great things to close our roads for.
Thank you, Councillor Matthews. Did you have a seconder? Hoi Hohai, do you wish to speak now?
No.
Fantastic. Reserve your right. Does anyone wish to debate? I see no debate. Do you wish to speak, Hoi Hohai? No. Any right of reply? No. Fantastic. Inayane ka pōtitia te mōtini, I now put the motion which has been moved and seconded. Kua mana, that is carried, which brings us on to our last item of the agenda, 2.3 decision register updates and upcoming reports. We will take the report as read. Are there any questions? I see none. I'm very happy to move this motion. Councillor Randall, would you like to second the decision register? Fantastic. I don't see any need for debate. Would you like to speak, Councillor Randall? Any other debate? Fantastic. Ina ka pōtitia te mōtini, I now put the motion. Kua mana, I declare the motion carried. Tēnā kua mutu te hui, I declare the meeting closed. Me karakia tātou. Please join me in the karakia. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia ki te urutapu nui, kia wātia, kia māma, te nākau, te tinana, te wairua, I te ara takatū, koia rā e rongo, whakairia āki ki runga, kia wātia, ai rā, kua wātia.